ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaskar my dear friends. This is video number 13 on Talks with Swami Vivekananda. This video starts with talk number 41. Swami Vivekananda's love and sympathy for the poor. Don't touchism. Who serves Jiva serves God indeed. Place the Mutt, Belur, year 1902. After returning from eastern Bengal, Swamiji stayed in the Mutt and lived a simple, childlike life. Every year, some Santhal laborers used to work in the Mutt. Swamiji would joke and make fun with them and loved to hear their tales of weal and woe. One day, several noted gentlemen of Calcutta came to visit Swamiji in the Mutt. That day, Swamiji had started such a warm talk with the Santhal that when he was informed of the arrival of those gentlemen, he said, I shall not be able to go now. I am happy with these men. Really, that day Swamiji did not leave the poor Santals to see those visitors. One among the Santals was named Kesta. Swamiji loved Kesta very much. When Swamiji came to talk with them, Kesta used to say to Swamiji, "Oh my Swami, do not come to us when we are working, for while talking with you our work stops and the supervising Swami rebukes us afterwards." Swamiji would be touched by these words and say, No, he will not say anything. Tell me a little about your part of the country. Saying which he used to introduce the topic of their worldly affairs. One day Swamiji said to Kesta, Well, will you take food here one day? Kesta said, We do not take food touched by you. If you put salt in our food and we eat it, we shall lose our caste. Swamiji said, Why should you take salt? We will prepare curry for you without salt. Will you then take it? Kesta agreed to it. Then at the orders of Swamiji, bread, curry, sweets, curds, etc. were arranged for the Santhals and he made them sit before him to eat. While eating, Kesta said, Whence have you got this thing? We have never tasted anything like this. Swamiji, feeding them, sumptuously said, You are Narayana's God manifest. Today I have offered food to Narayana. The service of Dridra Narayana, God in the poor, about which Swamiji spoke, he himself performed one day like this. After meals, the Santhals went for rest, and Swamiji, addressing the disciples, said, I found them the veritable embodiment of God, such simplicity, such sincere gentleness, love, and I have seen nowhere else. Then, addressing the sannyasis of the Mutt, he said, See how simple they are. Can you mitigate their misery a little? Otherwise, of what good is the wearing of the Girva robe? Sacrifice of everything for the good of others is real sannyasa. They have never enjoyed any good thing in life. Sometimes I feel a desire to sell the mutt and everything and distribute the money to the poor and destitute. We have made the tree our shelter. Alas, the people of the country cannot get anything to eat, and the heart how can we have the heart to raise food to our mouths? When I was in the Western countries, I prayed to the Divine Mother. People here are sleeping on a bed of flowers. They eat all kinds of delicacies, and what do they not enjoy? While people in our country are dying of starvation, Mother, will there be no way for them? One of the objects of my going to the West to preach religion was to see if I could find any means for feeding the people of this country. Seeing the poor people of our country starving for food, a desire comes to me to overthrow all ceremonial worship and learning and go round from village to village collecting money from the rich by convincing them through force of character and sadhana and to spend the whole life in serving the poor. Alas, nobody thinks of the poor of the country. They are the backbone of the country, who by their labor are producing food. These poor people, the sweepers and laborers, who if they stop work for one day will create a panic in the town, but there is none to sympathize with them, none to console them in their misery. Just see, for want of sympathy from the Hindus, thousands of parihas in Madras are turning Christians. Don't think this is simply due to the pinch of hunger. It is because they do not get any sympathy from us. We are day and night calling out to them, don't touch us, don't touch us. Is there any compassion or kindliness of heart in the country? Only a class of don't touchists kick such customs out. I sometimes feel the urge to break the barriers of don't touchism. Go at once and call out, come all who are poor, miserable, wretched, and downtrodden, and to bring them all together in the name of Sri Ramakrishna. Unless they rise, the mother won't awaken. We could not make any provision for food and clothes for these. What have we done then? Alas, they know nothing of worldliness, and therefore even after working day and night cannot provide themselves with food and clothes. Let us open their eyes. I see clear as daylight that there is the one Brahma in all, in them and me. One Shakti dwells in all. The only difference is of the manifestation. Unless the blood circulates over the whole body, has any country risen at any time? If one limb is paralyzed, then even with the other limbs whole, not much can be done with that body. Know this for certain. Disciple, sir, there is such a diversity of religions and ideas among the people of this country that is a difficult affair to bring harmony among them. Swamiji, in anger, if you think any work difficult, then do not come here. Through the grace of God, all paths become easy. Your work is to serve the poor and miserable without distinction of caste or color, and you have no need to think about the results. Your duty is to go on working, and then everything will follow of itself. My method of work is to construct and not to pull down. Read the history of the world and you will find that a great soul has stood as the central figure in a certain period of a country. Animated by his ideas, hundreds of people have done good to the world. You are all intelligent boys and are coming here for a long time. Say, what have you done? Could not you give one life for the service of others? Next life you may read Vedanta and other philosophies. Give this life for the service of others, then I shall know that your coming here has not been in vain. Saying these words, Swamiji sat silent, wrapped in deep thought. After some time he said, after so much austerity, I have understood this as the real truth. God is present in every jiva. There is no other God besides that. Who serves jiva serves God indeed. After some pause, Swamiji addressing the disciples said, "What I have told you today, inscribe in your heart. See that you do not forget it." Chapter number 42, talk number 42. Life at the Belur Mutt in early days. Swami Vivekananda's reminiscence of Baranagar Mutt, rigors of monastic vow. Place the Mutt, Belur, year 1902, beginning. It was Saturday, and the disciple came Saturday, and the disciple came to the Mutt just before evening. An austere routine was being followed now at the Mutt regarding spiritual practices. Swamiji had issued an order that all brahmacharis and sannyasis should get up very early in the morning and practice japam and meditation in the worship room. Swamiji was having little sleeping during these days and would rise from bed at 3 in the morning. On the disciple saluting Swamiji just after his appearance at the mutt, he said, "Well, see how they are practicing religious exercises here nowadays. Everyone passes a considerable time in japam and meditation on mornings and evenings. Look there, a bell has been procured which is used for rousing all from sleep. Everyone has to get up before dawn." Sri Ramakrishna used to say, "In the morning and evening, the mind remains highly imbued with the sattva ideas. Those are the times when one should meditate with earnestness." After the passing away of Sri Ramakrishna, we underwent a lot of religious practice at the Badanagar Mutt. We used to get up at 3 a.m. and after washing our face, etc., some after bath and others without it, we would sit in the worship room and become absorbed in japam and meditation. What a strong spirit of dispassion we had in those days. We had no thought even as to whether the world existed or not. Ramakrishnananda busied himself day and night with the duties pertaining to Sri Ramakrishna's worship and service, and occupied the same position in the mutt as the mistress of the house does in a family. It was he who would procure, mostly by begging, the requisite articles for Sri Ramakrishna's worship and our subsistence. There have been days when the japam and meditation continued from morning till 5 or 5 in the afternoon. Ramakrishnananda waited and waited with our meals ready till at last he would come and snatch us from our meditation by sheer force. Oh, what a wonderful constancy of devotion we have noticed in him. Disciple, sir, how you used to meet the mutt expenses then? Swamiji, what a question. Well, we were sadhus, and what would come by begging and such other means would be utilized for defraying the mutt expenses. Today, both Suresh Babu and Balram Babu are no more. Had they been alive, they would have been exceedingly glad to see this mutt. You have doubtless heard Suresh Babu's name. He was in a way the founder of this mutt. It was he who used to bear all the expenses of the Baranagar mutt. It was this Suresh Mitra who used to think most for us in those days. His devotion and faith have no parallel. Disciple, sir, I have heard that you did not see him very often at his deathbed. Swamiji, we could only do it if we were allowed by his relatives. Well, it is a long tale, but now this for certain that among worldly people it is of little count to your relatives and kinsmen whether you live or die. If you succeed in leaving some property, you will find even in your lifetime that there has been set up a brawl over it in your household. You will have no one to console you in your deathbed, not even your wife and sons. Such is the way of the world. Referring to the past condition of the Mata, Swamiji went on, owing to want of funds, I would sometimes fight for abolishing the Mata altogether, but I could never induce Ramakrishnananda to accede to the proposal. No Ramakrishnananda to be the central figure of the Math. There have been days when the Math was without a grain of food. If some rice was collected by bagging, there was no salt to take it with. On some days there would be only rice and salt, but nobody cared for it in the least. We were then being carried away by a tidal wave of spiritual practice. Boiled bimba leaves, rice and salt. This was the menu for a month at a stretch. Oh, those wonderful days! The austerities of that period were enough to dismay supranatural beings, not to speak of man. But it is a tremendous truth that if there be real worth in you, the more are circumstances against you, the more will that inner power manifest itself. But the reason why I have provided for beds and tolerable living in the mutt is that the sannyasis that are enrolling themselves nowadays will not be able to bear so much strain as we did. There was the life of Sri Ramakrishna before us, and that was why we did not care much for privations and hardships. Boys of this generation will not be able to undergo so much hardship, as it is that I have provided for them. If they get just enough food and clothing, the boys will devote themselves to religious practice and will learn to sacrifice their lives for the good of humanity. Disciple, sir, outside people say a good deal against this sort of bedding and furniture. Swamiji, let them say, even in jest they will at least once think of this much, and they say it is easier to attain liberation through cherishing a hostile spirit. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, men should be counted as worms. Do you mean we have to conduct ourselves according to the chance opinion of others? Shah. Disciple, sir, you sometimes say all are Narayana, the poor and the needy are my Narayanas, and again you say men should be counted as worms. What do you really mean? Swamiji, well, there is not the least doubt that all are Narayanas, but all Narayanas do not criticize the furniture of the mutt. I shall go on working for the good of man without caring in the least for the criticisms of others. It is in this sense that the expression men are to be counted as worms has been used. He who has a dogged determination like that shall have everything. Only some may have it sooner and others a little later. That's all, but one is bound to reach the goal. It is because we had such a determination that we have attained the little that we have. Otherwise, what dire days of privation we have had to pass through. One day, for want of food, I fainted in the outer platform of a house on the roadside, and quite a shower of rain had passed over my head before I recovered my senses. Another day I had to do odd jobs in Calcutta for the whole day without food and had my meal on my return to the mutt at 10 or 11 in the night, and these were not solitary instances. Saying these words, Swamiji sat for a while pursuing some train of thought, then he resumed. Real monasticism is not easy to attain. There is no order of life so rigorous as this. If you stumble ever so little, you are hurled down a precipice and are smashed to pieces. One day I was traveling on foot from Agra to Vrindavan. There was not a farthing with me. I was about a couple of miles from Vrindavan when I found a man smoking on the roadside, and I was seized with a desire to smoke. I said to the man, "Hello, will you let me have a puff at your chillum?" He seemed to be hesitating greatly and said, "Sire, I am a sweeper." Well, there was the influence of old sanskaras, and I immediately stepped back and resumed my journey without smoking. I had gone a short distance when the thought occurred to me that I was a sannyasi who had renounced caste, family, prestige, and everything, and still I drew back as soon as the man gave himself out as a sweeper and could not smoke at the chillum touched by him. The thought made me restless at heart. When I had walked on half a mile, again I retraced my steps and came to the sweeper, whom I found still sitting there. I hastened to tell him, "Do prepare a chillum of tobacco for me, my dear friend." I paid no heed to his objections and insisted on having it. So the man was compelled to prepare a chillum for me. Then I gladly had a puff at it and proceeded to Vrindavan. When one has embraced the monastic life, one has to test whether one has gone beyond the prestige of caste and birth, etc. It is so difficult to observe the monastic vow in right earnest. There must not be the slightest divergence between one's words and actions. Disciple, sirs, you sometimes hold before us the householder's ideals and sometimes the ideal of sannyasi. Which one are we to adopt, Swamiji? Well, go on listening to all. Then stick to that one which appeals to you. Grip it hard like a bulldog. Swamiji came downstairs accompanied by the disciple while speaking these words and began to pace to and fro, uttering now and then the name of Shiva or humming a song on the Divine Mother, such as "Who knows how diversely thou playest, O Mother, thou flowing stream of nectar," and so on. Talk number 43 on meditation, how to awake the Kundalini. How to have concentration. Directions about spiritual practice. Place the Mutt, Bangalore, year 1902. The disciple passed the preceding night in Swamiji's room. At 4 a.m., Swamiji roused him and said, "Go and knock up the sadhus and brahmacharis from sleep with a bell." In pursuance of the order, the disciple rang the bell near the sadhus who slept. The monastic inmates hastened to go to the worship room for meditation. According to Swamiji's instructions, the disciple rang the bell lustily near Swami Brahmananda's bed, which made the latter exclaim, "Good heavens, the Bengal has made it too hot for us to stay in the mud." On the disciples communicating this to Swamiji, he burst out into a hearty laugh, saying, "Well done." Then Swamiji too washed his face and entered the chapel accompanied by the disciple. The sannyasis, Swami Brahmananda and others had been already seated for meditation. A separate seat was kept for Swamiji, on which he sat facing the east and pointing to a seat in front to the disciple, said, "Go and meditate sitting there." Shortly after taking his seat, Swamiji became perfectly calm and motionless like a statue, and his breathing became very slow. Everyone else kept his seat. After about an hour and a half, Swamiji rose from meditation with the words "Shiva, Shiva." His eyes were flushed, the expression placid, calm and grave. Bowing before Sri Ramakrishna, he came downstairs and paced on the courtyard of the mutt. After a while, he said to the disciple, Do you see how the sadhus are practicing meditation, etc. nowadays? When the meditation is deep, one sees many wonderful things. While meditating at the Brahnagar Mutt, one day I saw the Navs Ida and Pingla. One can see them with a little effort. Then, when one has a vision of the Susumna, one can see anything one likes. If a man has unflinching devotion to the Guru, spiritual practices, meditation and japam, etc., come quite naturally. One need not struggle for them. The Guru is Brahma, the Guru is Vishnu, and the Guru is Shiva himself. Then the disciple prepared tobacco for Swamiji, and when he returned with it, Swamiji spoke as he puffed at it. Within Within there is the line, the eternally pure, illumined and ever-free Atma, and directly one realizes him through meditation and concentration. This world of Maya vanishes. He is equally present in all, and the more one practices, the quicker does the Kundalini, the coiled up power, awaken in him. When this power reaches the head, one's vision is unobstructed. One realizes the Atma. Disciple. Sir, I have only read of these things in the scriptures, but nothing has been realized as yet. Swamiji, Kalinatmani Vindati. It is bound to come in time, but some attain this early and others are a little late. One must stick to it, determined never to let it go. This is true manliness. You must keep the mind fixed on one object like an unbroken stream of oil. The ordinary man's mind is scattered on different objects, and at the time of meditation too, the mind is at first apt to wander. But let any desire, whatever arise in the mind, you must sit calmly and watch what sort of ideas are coming. By continuing to watch in that way, the mind becomes calm and there are no more thought waves in it. These waves represent the thought activity of the mind. These things that you have previously thought too deeply have transformed themselves into a subconscious current, and therefore these come up in the mind in meditation. The rise of these waves or thoughts during meditation is an evidence that your mind is tending towards concentration. Sometimes the mind is concentrated on a set of ideas. This is called meditation with vikalpas or oscillation. But when the mind becomes almost free from all activities, it melts in the inner self, which is the essence of infinite knowledge, one and itself its own sport. This is what is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi, free from all activities. In Sri Ramakrishna, we have again and again noticed both these forms of Samadhi. He had not to struggle to get these states. They came to him spontaneously, then and there. It was a wonderful phenomenon. It was by seeing him that we could rightly understand these things. Meditate every day alone, everything will open up of itself. Now the Divine Mother, the embodiment of illumination, is sleeping within. Hence, you do not understand this. She is the Kundalini. When before meditating, you proceed to purify the nerves, you must mentally strike hard on the Kundalini in the Muladhara, sacral plexus, and repeat, "Arise, Mother, arise." One must practice these slowly during meditation. Suppress the emotional side altogether. This is a great source of danger. Those that are very emotional have no doubt their kundalini rushing quickly upwards, but it is as quick to come down as to go up. And when it does come down, it leaves the devotee in a state of utter ruin. It is for this reason that kirtans and other auxiliaries to emotional development have a great drawback. It is true that by dancing and jumping, etc., through a momentary impulse, that power is made to course upwards, but it is never enduring. On the contrary, when it traces back its course, it rouses violent lust in the individual. Listening to my lectures in America, through temporary excitement, many among the audience used to get into an ecstatic state, and some would even become motionless like statues. But on inquiry, I afterward found that many of them had an excess of the carnal instinct immediately after that state. But these happens but this happens simply owing to a lack of steady practice in meditation and concentration. Disciples, sir, in no scripture have I ever read these secrets of spiritual practice. Today I have heard quite new thing. Swamiji, do you think the scriptures contain all the secrets of spiritual practice? These are being handed down secretly through a succession of gurus and disciples. Practice meditation and concentration with the utmost care. Place fragrant flowers in front and burn incense. At the outset, take such external help as will make the mind pure. As you repeat the name of your Guru and each term say, peace be to all creatures and the universe. First send impulses of these good wishes to the north, south, east, west, above, below, in all directions, and then sit down to meditate. One has to do like this during the early stages. Then sitting still, you may face in any direction. Meditate in the way I have taught you while initiating. Don't leave out a single day. If you have too much pressing work, go through these spiritual exercises for at least a quarter of an hour. Can you reach the goal without a steadfast devotion, my son? Now Swamiji went upstairs, and as he did so, he said, you people will have your spiritual insight opened without much trouble. When you have chanced to come here, well, you have liberation and all under your thumb. Now, besides practicing meditation, etc., set yourselves heart and soul to remove to a certain extent the miseries of the world, so full of ways. Through hard austerities, I have almost ruined this body. There is hardly any energy left in this pack of bones and flesh. You set yourself to work now and let me rest a while. If you fail to do anything else, well, you can tell the world at large about the scriptural truths you have studied so long. There is no higher gift than this, for the gift of knowledge is the highest gift in the world. Talk number 44 about the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, place the Mutt, Belur, year 1902. Swamiji was now staying at the Mutt. The disciple came to the Mutt and towards the evening accompanied Swamiji and Swami Premananda for a walk. Finding Swamiji absorbed in thought, the disciple entered into a conversation with Swami Premananda on what Sri Ramakrishna used to say Swamiji's greatness. After walking some distance, Swamiji turned to go back to the Mutt. Seeing Swami Premananda and the disciple nearby, he said, well, what were you talking? The disciple said, we were talking about Sri Ramakrishna and his words. Swamiji only heard the reply but again lapsed into thought and walking by the road returned to the Mutt. He sat on the camp cot placed under the mango tree and resting there some time. washed his face, and while pacing the upper veranda, spoke to the disciple thus: Why do you not set about propagating Vedanta in your part of the country? There, Tantrikism prevails to a fearful extent, rouse and agitate the country with the lion roar of Advaitvada. Then I shall know you to be a Vedantist. First open a tool there and teach the Upanishads and the Brahmasutras. Teach the boys the system of Brahmacharya. I have heard that in your country there is much logic chopping of the Nyaya school. What is there in it? Only Vyapsi, pervasiveness and Anumana, inference on these subjects the Nyayika Pandits discuss for months. What does it help towards the knowledge of the Atma? Either in your village or Nag Mahasays open a Chatuspati indigenous school in which the scriptures will be studied and also the life and teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. In this way, you advance your good as well as the good of the people, and your fame will endure. Disciple, sir, I cherish no desire for name or fame, only sometimes I feel a desire to do as you are saying, but by marriage I have got to so entangled in the world that I fear my desire will always remain in the mind only. Swamiji, what if you have married? As you are maintaining your parents and brothers with food and clothing, so do your wife likewise, and by giving her religious instruction, draw her to your path. Think her to be a partner and helper in the living of your religious life. At other times, look upon her with an even eye with others, thinking thus all the unsteadiness of the mind will die out. What fear! The disciple felt assured by these words. After meals, Swamiji sat on his own bed, and the disciple got an opportunity of doing some personal service to him. Swamiji began to speak to the disciple, enjoining him to be reverential to the mutt members. These children of Sri Ramakrishna, whom you see, are wonderful Tyagis, selfless souls, and by service to them you will attain to the purification of mind and be blessed with the vision of the Atma. You remember the words of the Gita. By interrogation and service to the great souls, therefore you must serve them, by which you will attain your goal, and you know how much they love you. Disciple, but I find it very difficult to understand them. Each one seems to be of a different type. Swamiji. Sri Ramakrishna was a wonderful gardener. Therefore, he has made a bucket of different flowers and formed his order. All different types and ideas have come into it, and many more will come. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, whoever has prayed to God sincerely for one day must come here. Know each of those who are here to be of great spiritual power, because they remain shriveled before me. Do not think them to be ordinary souls. When they will go out, they will be the cause of the awakenment of spirituality in people. Know them to be part of the spiritual body of Sri Ramakrishna, who was the embodiment of infinite religious ideas. I look upon them with that eye. See, for instance, Brahmananda, who is here. Even I have not the spirituality which he has. Sri Ramakrishna looked upon him as his spiritual son, and he lived and walked, ate and slept with him. He is the ornament of our mutt, our king. Similarly, Premananda, Turyananda, Trigunatita, Akhandananda, Shardananda, Ramakrishnananda, Subodhananda, and others. You may go round the world, but it is doubtful if you will find men of such spirituality and faith in God like them. They are each a center of religious power, and in time that power will manifest. The disciple listened in